First contact gone wrong. The stellar Concordat vessel Eternal Dawn drifted silently through the void, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Commander Zara Valen stood at her observation post, all 6 of her sensory appendages extended in a pose that indicated deep concentration. The ship's sensors had detected something unprecedented, a vessel of completely unknown design approaching their border outpost. Analysis complete, Commander, reported her science officer, Keth. The vessel appears to be using some form of gravity manipulation we've never encountered. Its hull composition is... He paused, mandibles clicking in confusion. Primarily metallic alloys. Quite primitive, yet somehow achieving faster-than-light travel. Zyra's outer membrane shifted colors, displaying her intrigue. The Concordat had ruled this sector for millennia, their crystalline biotechnology far surpassing anything their member species had possessed when first contacted. Yet here was something new, something that challenged their understanding of technological progression. "Open a communication channel," she ordered, her translator converting her bioluminescent pulses into the standardized language of the Concordat. "Let's welcome our visitors properly." The response came not in light patterns or electromagnetic waves, but in crude radio signals. The vessel identified itself as the UES Horizon, a human exploration ship. The term human was new to their databases. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Ship Horizon." The transmission continued. "We come in peace, seeking diplomatic contact with new civilizations." Zyra was about to respond when her tactical officers suddenly flared bright red. Their danger warning. "Commander, the vessel's power core. It's unlike anything in our database. The energy readings are off the scale." Before Zyra could process this information, the Concordat's automated defense systems, programmed to respond to any unknown energy signatures that exceeded safety thresholds, activated. A containment field began forming around the human ship. "Deactivate defensive systems," Zyra commanded, but it was too late. The humans, interpreting the containment field as an attack, took evasive action. Their ship performed maneuvers that should have been impossible for such primitive technology, briefly phasing out of normal spacetime, another capability that shocked the Concordat crew. "They're using some form of quantum displacement," Keth reported, his voice trembling with excitement and fear. "It's elegant in its simplicity, but the power requirements should be..." The human ship reappeared behind the Eternal Dawn, having somehow bypassed their supposedly impenetrable shields. But instead of attacking, they broadcast again. "Concordat vessel, we mean no harm." Captain Chen's voice remained calm. "We understand your defensive reaction, but please allow us to explain our technology. We've learned to do more with less. It's a human specialty." Zyra felt her preconceptions crumbling. These humans had achieved something remarkable. They'd taken a different path to the stars, one that the Concordat's rigid technological hierarchy had never considered possible. Their primitive metals and quantum manipulation showed that there was more than one way to reach for the stars. But before she could respond, a priority message flashed through the Concordat's quantum network. The Council of Elders had been monitoring the encounter and had reached a decision. These humans, with their unpredictable technology and ability to bypass Concordat defenses, were deemed a potential threat to galactic stability. "Commander Valen," the Council's message stated, "you are ordered to escort this vessel to Containment Station Alpha for further study. Their technology must be properly cataloged and controlled before they can be considered for contact." Zyra's color patterns shifted to deep indigo, the shade of moral conflict. The humans had shown no aggression, despite their defensive systems activating. They were reaching out in peace, demonstrating both technological innovation and diplomatic restraint. "Belay that order," she announced, her patterns now shifting to the rare gold of defiance. "Open a direct channel to the human vessel." "Captain Chen," she transmitted, on behalf of the stellar Concordat, "I apologize for our defensive response. Your approach to space travel is unexpected, but fascinating. I would be honored to continue our discussion, despite what others might think of our differences. The human captain's response came with what their translators identified as something called laughter, a sound that would soon become familiar to Concordat crews. Commander Valen, we humans have a saying. The best discoveries often come from unexpected directions. We'd be delighted to talk more, especially about how we might learn from each other's approaches to the stars. As the two ships began their historic first contact discussion, Zyra realized that the humans' greatest technology wasn't their quantum displacement drive or their efficient use of metals. It was their ability to think differently, to find new paths where others saw only established rules. The Concordat would need to adapt to this new perspective, or risk being left behind by these remarkable newcomers to the galactic stage. The hidden truth. The crystalline spires of the Concordat Central Archives towered above Dr. Maya Patel as she followed her alien escort through its winding corridors. 3 months had passed since the historic first contact between humanity and the stellar Concordat, and she still couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. As the UEA's Horizon's chief xenotechnologist, Maya had been chosen to participate in the technology exchange program. The Concordat's biocrystal computers were magnificent, their efficiency unmatched, but their rigid adherence to established principles felt off. It was as if they were deliberately avoiding certain avenues of research. Her escort, a junior archivist named Telk, moved with the characteristic flowing motion of his species. These terminals contain our complete technological history, he explained, his translator converting his bioluminescent pulses, though some sections are restricted due to security protocols. Maya noticed how his colors shifted slightly when mentioning the restrictions, a tell she'd learned to recognize. Telk, she asked carefully, has the Concordat ever encountered quantum displacement technology before us? The archivist's outer membrane rippled with what she now recognized as anxiety. I should not discuss classified matters. But Maya had already spotted something on a nearby terminal, a fragment of data about an ancient civilization called the Precursors. Before Telk could stop her, she had interfaced her neural link with the system. The Concordat hadn't expected humans to be able to process their biocrystal data directly, but Maya's neural implant, a technology they'd dismissed as primitive, proved more adaptable than they'd assumed. Images and data flooded her mind. The Precursors had developed technology similar to humanity's quantum displacement drive millennia ago, but their records ended abruptly. The final entries mentioned something called the Unity Protocol. Dr. Patel, Telk's patterns now showed clear distress. You must not access those files. The Unity Protocol is sacred. Sacred. Maya's implant was still processing the data, or forbidden. The Precursors found a way to merge biological and quantum technologies, didn't they? Just like we're doing with our neural interfaces. But something happened to them. Warning signals began pulsing through the archive. Maya quickly downloaded what she could before security protocols kicked in. Telk's colors had shifted to a deep shade she'd never seen before. You don't understand, he whispered, his patterns almost too faint to translate. The Unity Protocol wasn't just about technology. It was about evolution itself. The Precursors believed that true advancement could only come through the merger of all sentient life and technology. They wanted to force this evolution on everyone. Maya's blood ran cold as she processed the implications. The Concordat stopped them. Our founders had no choice. The Precursors would have consumed everything, turned all life into a single unified consciousness. That's why we developed our hierarchical approach to technology, to prevent anyone from reaching that level of power again. Security forces were approaching, but Maya had one more question. Is that why you fear human technology? Because we're walking the same path as the Precursors. Telk's response was interrupted by the arrival of Concordat security officers, their crystalline armor gleaming. But Maya had seen enough in his color patterns to know the truth. The Concordat wasn't just a governing body. It was a prison guard, keeping the galaxy's technology in check to prevent another Unity Protocol. As she was escorted out of the archives, Maya's neural implant finished processing the downloaded data. Hidden within were coordinates to something called the Preservation Vault, a secret facility where the Concordat kept technologies deemed too dangerous to destroy, but too important to forget. Back aboard the UES Horizon, Maya shared her discoveries with Captain Chen. The captain's expression grew grave as she reviewed the data. So the Concordat's fear of advancement isn't just bureaucracy. It's trauma, Chen mused. They're so afraid of another Unity protocol that they're stunting the galaxy's growth. The question is, what do we do with this information? Maya thought about Telk's fearful patterns, about the precursor's misguided attempt to force evolution, and about humanity's own path of technological development. We need to show them another way, she said firmly. Humanity has always feared the power of our technology, from nuclear weapons to artificial intelligence. But instead of suppressing progress, we learned to advance responsibly. We developed ethical frameworks, collaborative oversight, distributed power structures. Captain Chen nodded slowly. You're suggesting we could help heal the Concordat's ancient wounds, but they might not be ready to face their fears. They have to be, Maya insisted, because there's something else in that data, readings suggesting that somewhere out there, fragments of the precursor civilization might still exist. And if they do, then the galaxy needs to be ready, Chen finished. And it won't be ready if the Concordat keeps everyone in technological chains. As the UES Horizon orbited the Concordat capital world, its crew began planning their next moves carefully. They would need allies within the Concordat, people like Telk who could see beyond their society's fears. More importantly, they would need to prove that technological advancement didn't have to lead to the horrors of the Unity Protocol. The real first contact between humanity and the stellar Concordat was just beginning, not just an exchange of technology, but an exchange of ways to face the future without fear. Shadows of change. The maintenance tunnels beneath the Concordat's central security complex hummed with biocrystal energy as Commander Zira Valen led her unlikely group through the darkness. Behind her, Dr. Maya Patel's neural interface cast a soft blue glow, while Telk's natural bioluminescence pulsed with nervous energy. They had 20 minutes before the security systems would reset. The Preservation Vault's quantum shielding will be strongest here, Zira explained, her patterns dimmed to avoid detection. We'll need both Concordat and human technology to breach it. Maya nodded, connecting her neural interface to a nearby crystal node. The Concordat never expected anyone to combine their biocrystal tech with quantum computing. Their security is built on the assumption that these technologies are incompatible. They reached a massive door that seemed to absorb light itself. Telk moved forward, his archival access codes combining with Maya's quantum algorithms. The door's surface rippled like liquid metal. Even if we get inside, Telk whispered, accessing the precursor artifacts will alert the High Council. They monitor everything in the vault. Let them watch. Zira's pattern showed grim determination. The galaxy needs to know the truth about the precursors, about the Unity Protocol, about everything. The door dissolved, revealing a vast chamber filled with technologies beyond imagination. Artifacts from 1,000 dead civilizations floated in stasis fields, each deemed too dangerous for the galaxy by the Concordat's ancient judgment. Maya's neural interface began downloading data at unprecedented speeds. These aren't just weapons, she gasped. There's medical technology that could save billions, energy systems that could end resource wars, environmental restoration tools. All forbidden. Telk's patterns showed shame. Because they could potentially be misused. Because they might lead to another Unity protocol. Zira moved to a central console, her command codes granting her limited access. The precursors weren't evil, she said, reviewing the historical data. They were afraid. Afraid of division, of conflict, of the chaos of individual development. The Unity Protocol was their attempt to end all war by ending all difference. But they were wrong, Maya added, still processing the vault's data. Unity doesn't mean uniformity. Humanity learned it the hard way. Our greatest achievements came from collaboration between different perspectives, not from forcing everyone to be the same. Warning klaxons suddenly blared through the complex. On the chamber screens, they could see Concordat security forces mobilizing. But something was wrong. The response patterns were chaotic, uncoordinated. Multiple breaches detected. An automated system announced. Unknown energy signatures approaching major population centers. Telk's colors paled. No, the vault sensors are detecting precursor signals. They're still out there, still active. Our scans must have attracted their attention. Maya's neural interface flashed with urgent data. They'd been waiting, watching. Every time the vault sensors activate, they'd been gathering data about the galaxy's development. And now they know we've discovered ways to merge different technologies. Zyra finished. They'll see it as proof that the galaxy needs their Unity protocol. The chamber's screens filled with images of massive ships appearing near Concordat worlds, vessels that seemed to be made of both crystal and metal, organic and machine components merged in impossible ways. The precursors had spent millennia perfecting their vision of unified evolution. The High Council was right to be afraid. Telk's patterns showed terror. We're not ready to face this. Our segregated technology, our rigid hierarchies, we're too divided. But Maya was already moving, her neural interface connecting to the vault systems with unprecedented speed. No, she said firmly. The Concordat wasn't ready precisely because they tried to control and divide everything. But humanity, we've spent centuries learning to balance progress with responsibility, individual identity with collective action. She turned to her allies, her neural implant glowing brighter. The precursors believed the only way to end conflict was to end diversity. We can prove them wrong. Humanity's quantum technology, the Concordat's biocrystals. Apart, they're powerful, but together. Together, we can show the galaxy a different path. Zyra's colors shifted to deep gold, the shade of revolution. You're suggesting we do exactly what the Concordat feared. Merge different technologies, different approaches, but not to dominate. To defend. Maya finished. To prove that true unity comes from choosing to work together, not from being forced into uniformity. The screen showed more precursor ships arriving. The lost civilization had finally decided to complete their ancient mission. But as they approached, they would find something they didn't expect. A galaxy ready to protect its right to grow, change, and evolve in its own diverse ways. Zyra opened a channel to both the UES Horizon and the Concordat High Council. The time for secrets and fear was over. Humanity and the Concordat would face this crisis together, or not at all. Unity and diversity. The combined fleet of human and Concordat ships hung in high orbit around the capital world, their formations reflecting their different approaches to space combat. The Concordat's crystalline vessels arranged themselves in perfect geometric patterns, while the human ships maintained a more fluid, adaptable formation. Captain Sarah Chen watched from the UES Horizon's bridge as the first precursor vessels emerged from quantum space. Their ships, Maya breathed, her neural interface processing the sensor data. They're not just a combination of organic and mechanical components. They're evolving in real time, adapting to everything they encounter. The precursor fleet was vast, their ships resembling massive fractals that shifted and changed with every passing moment. As they approached, a transmission cut through all communication channels, bypassing every encryption. Children of division, a voice spoke in multiple languages simultaneously. We have watched your stumbling progress. Your fear of unity has kept you fragmented, weak. The time has come to embrace evolution. The lead precursor vessel released a wave of energy that transformed everything it touched. A nearby Concordat patrol ship was caught in the field. Its crystalline structure began to merge with its crew, turning ship and sailors into a single unified entity. By the stars, Zyra's pattern showed horror as she watched from her command ship. That's what the Unity Protocol truly is, not just technological merger, but the forced evolution of all life into a single consciousness. All vessels maintain distance from the transformation fields, Chen ordered. Maya, what are we looking at? Dr. Patel's neural interface was processing data faster than ever before. Their technology is incredible. It's breaking down the barriers between organic and inorganic matter, between individual consciousness and collective awareness. But it's not just changing bodies, it's overriding minds. More precursor ships appeared, surrounding the defensive fleet. Their fractal forms seemed to bend reality itself, making space and time bend to their will. You resist because you do not understand, the precursor voice continued. Individual consciousness is at evolutionary dead end. Only through unity can life reach its full potential. But Maya had spotted something in her sensor data. Captain, Commander, look at their energy patterns. The precursors aren't truly unified at all. Their ships, their consciousness, it's all being controlled from a central node. This isn't evolution. It's absorption into a single dominant consciousness. Chen shared a look with Zura through their visual link. Then we show them true unity. All ships implement protocol harmony. Across the fleet, human neural interfaces began linking with concordat biocrystal networks. Not merging, not overwriting, but communicating, sharing data, tactics, and perspectives, while maintaining their unique identities. The Horizon's quantum displacement drive synchronized with the crystal lattices of concordat vessels, creating defensive patterns that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Impossible, the precursor voice actually showed emotion for the first time. Confusion. Your technologies are incompatible. Your species are too different. Different doesn't mean incompatible, Maya responded, her neural interface broadcasting to all channels. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to work together without losing ourselves. The combined fleet moved as one. Yet each ship maintained its own character. Human vessels darted through quantum space, creating gaps in the precursor formation, while concordat ships used their crystal matrices to redirect the transformation fields back at their creators. You call this unity? The precursor voice demanded. You maintain separation, individuality, the chaos of free will. We call it diversity. Zyra's patterns showed fierce pride. The concordat feared it for too long, tried to control it. But humanity showed us that our differences make us stronger. The precursor ships began to concentrate their fire on the horizon, recognizing it as the nexus of the human concordat cooperation. But as their transformation fields approached, something unprecedented happened. Maya's neural interface, linked with the concordat's biocrystal network, created a new kind of shield, one that didn't just block the unity protocol, but reflected its true nature back at the precursors. Their own ships began to fragment, the forced unity of their consciousness breaking apart. What is happening to us? The precursor voice began to separate into distinct individuals, ancient personalities emerging from the collective. You're being reminded of who you were, Maya explained, her voice firm but compassionate. Before you feared diversity so much that you tried to erase it. Before you forgot that true unity comes from choice, not force. The precursor fleet's fractal patterns began to dissolve, their ships transforming as the ancient consciousness controlling them weakened. Within each vessel, individual minds began to resurface, the original precursors, preserved for millennia within their own technology, finally breaking free from the unity they had forced upon themselves. Evolution's choice. The Great Hall of the Concordat Council Chamber had never seen such a gathering. Representatives from every member species stood alongside human diplomats, while in the center, a group of newly awakened precursors faced their long-lost descendants. Through the crystal walls, the combined fleet still orbited above, a symbol of how much had changed in just a few days. We were wrong, the precursor elders spoke, their form shifting between organic and technological states as they struggled to maintain individual identity after eons of forced unity. In our fear of conflict, we created something far worse than war, the death of choice itself. Maya stood with Captain Chen and Commander Zira, her neural interface recording this historic moment. The precursor ships had been transformed into temporary habitats, helping their awakened crew members recover their individuality after millennia of collective consciousness. The Unity Protocol was born of desperation. Another precursor added, this one choosing to maintain a more technological form. Our civilization had nearly destroyed itself through division and warfare. We thought the only solution was to eliminate the possibility of disagreement entirely, by forcing everyone to think as one. Zira's patterns showed understanding. The same fear that led the early Concordat to control technological development, to prevent anyone from following your path. The head of the Concordat Council, their crystalline form radiating ancient authority, moved forward. For millennia, we have been guardians against a threat we never truly understood. We thought we were protecting the galaxy from your technology, but we were really hiding from your mistakes. And in doing so, Chen added, you nearly made the same mistake, trying to control diversity instead of embracing it. Maya's neural interface pinged with incoming data from the recovery efforts. The precursor ships are stabilizing, she reported. As more of their crew regain individual consciousness, we're seeing incredible variations in how they choose to exist. Some purely organic, others technological, many in between. They're becoming a society of true diversity. That is what we feared most, the precursor elder admitted. Not just physical or technological differences, but the uncertainty of letting each being choose their own path. We thought unity meant uniformity. But true unity, Maya smiled, is choosing to work together despite our differences, or perhaps because of them. The council leader's crystal matrix pulsed with new patterns. The Concordat must evolve as well. Our rigid hierarchies, our fear of technological integration, they were chains we forged from ancient terrors. Humanity has shown us a better way. Not better, Chen corrected gently. Just different. That's the point, isn't it? There isn't one right path for everyone. The gathering shifted as a holographic display activated in the chamber center, showing the combined fleet above. Human ships and Concordat vessels moved in harmony, their different technologies complementing each other perfectly. Among them, the transformed precursor ships were beginning to show signs of individuality, their fractal patterns becoming unique to each vessel's newly awakened crew. This is what evolution really means, Maya declared, her neural interface sharing her thoughts with all present. Not a forced march toward a single form, but a million different paths forward. The freedom to choose, to differ, to cooperate without conforming. Zira's colors shifted to a new pattern, one that combined the traditional shades of the Concordat with elements of human neural patterns. Then let us choose a new path together. Not as rulers and subjects, not as advanced and primitive, but as equals with different gifts to share. The precursor elder moved to join them, their form settling into a stable state that blended organic and mechanical elements in harmony. And we will help, not by leading, but by sharing our experiences, both our achievements and our mistakes. The Unity Protocol will be preserved not as a weapon, but as a reminder that the greatest threat to diversity is the fear of difference itself. As the gathered representatives began discussing the practical details of this new age, Maya felt her neural interface resonating with the chamber's crystal architecture. The technology wasn't forcing a connection, it was offering one, waiting for her choice to accept or decline. Around her, others were making similar discoveries, finding their own ways to bridge the gaps between species and machines. Captain Chen watched the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. You know, she mused to no one in particular. Humans have an old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. But maybe what really stays the same is change itself, the endless dance of unity and diversity, of individual and community, of tradition and progress. No, Maya corrected, smiling as she watched Concordat crystals and human quantum systems and precursor technology, all beginning to interact in new and unexpected ways. What stays the same is choice. As long as we remember that true unity comes from choosing to work together, we'll keep finding new ways to evolve. All of us, each in our own way. Above the planet, the combined fleet continued its patrol, but now they were watching not for enemies, but for new possibilities, new civilizations, new ways of being that none of them had yet imagined. The galaxy was entering an age not of enforced unity or rigid separation, but of chosen harmony. And that was only the beginning.